All right, YouTube. What's going on, YouTube? Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. It's been a long 5 days. I want to give everybody a chance to get up in here so we can talk a little bit about Auburn football, a constant source of entertainment and maybe drama. I guess you could call it a little drama. Now, most of the drama that I've seen has been media dictated. Every other article, it's over for Bryan Harsin. You know, every article is saying that it's over for Bryan Harsin, that change at Auburn is imminent, names of different coaches coming about. And the caveat to all of this is done while Bryan Harsin is on vacation. Now, what a feeling that a person may have. This is a CarCast, by the way. What a feeling that a person's got to have to be implicated while on vacation. I remember I worked for this company at one time, and things were not going so well. You know, I was on a performance plan. I actually murdered the performance plan really well. And I know now, looking back, that the performance plan was a setup for me to fail that performance plan so they could have a justification to terminate me. However, I passed the performance plan with flying colors, which I knew I would. And I knew that the performance plan was bullshit to begin with. Then I noticed a lot of people around me, a lot of tenured grandfathered managers were starting to get let go. And when this one particular person got let go, this was shortly before a vacation that I was about to take. And I was like, uh-oh. You know, Jacob got fired. Derek got fired. All of us. Now, see, here's the catch. All of us were maximizing the pay plan and the percentage of profits. So, in order to cut costs, why not cut these guys and we can get just about the same amount of production from some green folks that want this same position, that have been begging for this same position, with their hopes as if they were going to get paid the way we were, but not the case. Either way, I was on vacation. I went to Indiana for my fraternity's 100th anniversary celebration. And that whole time, while I was with one of my frat brothers, I was like, you know what? It was something in my gut that kept telling me, I was like, Dre, you know what? I think I'm going to get let go. I think I'm going to get let go. I knew my departure would give them plenty of uninterrupted, uninvaded time for them to conjure up enough dirt, and rightfully so, some justifiable dirt that can get the typical person terminated, even though a lot of folks don't get terminated for doing the same thing. But in this case, hey, we're justified in doing it. So they found a deal where I mistakenly left a person's credit card on file and was charging them daily for insurance. And 2 weeks passed by and they had to take it off. And by taking it off, what it does is, let's just say 10 days worth of $15.99 a day will skew the numbers to where when you take it off, it makes the number go backwards, so to speak. So when I get back to the office, I go to my desk as I normally do. I noticed it just felt different when I arrived back. And manager brought me into the office, and I mean, it was pretty swift. She was like, you know, we're terminating you. And I was not shocked, but you know, somehow you always feel like you got a little bit more time. You know what I'm saying? You know, I felt like whatever had been wrong, that I could, you know, kind of redeem myself. Hey, if I survived what I survived before, surely I should be given a little bit more time. But sure enough, They let me go. And I understand exactly how Bryan Harsin may feel. The fact that people will go behind your back, basically, and come up with all these allegations, all these different clauses as to why you should not be employed at a place while you're on vacation. Bryan Harsin has been there, been present, been recruiting every day since the Birmingham Bowl loss. Gus Malzahn was fired right after the game against Mississippi State. A day later. Was no time wasted. None of that stuff. No investigation. Hey, it's over. It's a wrap. But this thing with Bryan Harsin, which started out disgustingly as an allegation of some misconduct with secretary, I guess. And, you know, pictures surfaced all over the internet. And, you know, that started. Then you have players coming forward saying that he, you know, this is a dictatorship. He treated us like dogs. He shows favoritism. He's really hard to work with. He's a jerk. All of these different things come about. So the university, allegedly, that's the key. The university allegedly conducts an investigation. An investigation that could prove for cause justification for Bryan Harsin to no longer be employed at Auburn University. Based on all of the evidence, both aggravating and mitigating, aggravating meaning the stuff that just really looks bad, right? Mitigating meaning the stuff that, you know, kind of kind of softens the blow a little bit as far as allegations and things, you know, that don't go in Bryan Harsin's favor. You know, I don't know what the outcome will be. And at this point, I really don't care. Here's what I do know. I do know that spring training starts in about 3 weeks. And if there's a circumstance that could result in the uprooting of a head college football coach in Power 5 football, I think that thing needed to be done last week. That thing needed to have been done a month ago. Because, one, you got to look at the total implication of Bryan Harsin no longer being employed at Auburn. One, he's got a lot of staffers on his job that I know an incoming head coach is not going to want to retain those guys. Not a matter of merit, not a matter of ability, but they're not, you know, that coach's guys. Just like when Bryan Harsin came in, he basically cleaned house, kept Carnell Williams. Here's some of the stuff that has gone against Bryan Harsin up to this point. You got 18 guys hitting the transfer portal. A lot of those guys pretty non-productive, but we're not going to sugarcoat this thing as it relates to Bryan Harsin, as he has gotten himself, by and large, in this situation. A 5-game losing streak to end the 2021 season. Why did that losing streak happen? A lot of it was coaching decisions on his part. On his part. We're not going to negate Bryan Harsin's responsibility in the fate of his team down the stretch. Whether it be ill-advised 4th down conversion attempts, whether it be horrible situational play calling, whether it be the defense make a huge stop. Now, see, usually all of this stuff tended to happen between the start. Well, it started to happen between late second quarter, early to middle third quarter. That's where Auburn usually sealed their fate. Arguably one of the worst scenarios for Auburn last year came in the South Carolina game. Auburn up 14-7. Auburn decides on a short down, instead of giving the ball to Tank Bigsby, who had the hot hand at the time, I think could have made 1 yard. Auburn does a play action and does a horizontal route, vertical route, to a guy that was not even close to being open, and South Carolina gets the ball in plus territory and scores before half, 14-14. And then that swings the momentum. And Auburn, not a bad football team, but Auburn definitely not the type of football team on the road in a very tough place to play in South Carolina, giving the team momentum. This was already a team that was fighting for a spot in a bowl game, looking for bowl eligibility. You add to the momentum by basically giving them a plus side of the field, fourth down stop. Huge momentum builder. And another game that I thought Bryan Harsin should have been a little bit more active in stopping the bleeding was the Mississippi State game. There's just no way you can just keep letting this happen. There has to be a point where you intervene and look what is going on. What adjustments can be made? What are we doing? But to continue to just seemingly let it happen without any type of serious intervention was problematic for me. I will say this. Auburn has the opportunity, 5-game home stretch to begin the season. Now, if you look at the media outlets, they will tell you that Auburn has an absolutely terrible team coming into the 2022 season. I want to beg to differ. Especially with the offensive linemen coming back. I think it's going to be some huge question marks at the wide receiver position. Some developmental processes will have to happen really quickly. Also, the immaturity at the linebacker position and cornerback position still kind of in limbo. So that could leave Auburn vulnerable in big-time games against teams that have relatively elite receivers. But Auburn has an opportunity to start the season off, a relatively manageable schedule. You have Penn State coming to town. Now, Penn State will arguably be projected to win that football game, but that's an opportunity there. Kind of reminds me of the opportunity that Kirby Smart had back in 2017 when Notre Dame comes to town. And when they go to Notre Dame, that's one of those games you got to circle on your calendar. All right, guys, Bryan Harsin actually attends the SEC coaches meeting today. He slides through the side door along with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin seems like the kind of guy that slides through side doors. Side door Lane. That's what we're going to call him from now on. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.